Right. A little bit of a quick live stream. It gives a bit of time. I just wanted to make a quick update. And basically, the reason for this video was I got a quick message from a guy called, I think it was Thanzil Patel. Sorry, Thanzil, I don't know where you're from. I presume it's India or something like that. And he had a question about, where is it? About the Rofis Tc1. And it got me thinking. And basically what he said was, he said, look, if I charge this fully and then leave it for a week, I come back and it doesn't work. So I thought that's quite interesting. Now, I did a lot of testing with this and I purposefully haven't charged this for a while now. So what you should be able to do is using your finger, because this is I presume it's some sort of capacitive touch mechanism to make it work. You should be able to press that and bring it back on, regardless of whether you're in lockout or whatever you would hold to get out of lockout. But it doesn't seem to work. So I'm having the same bother because now that I've checked this, I mean, I've done a little bit of digging, and what he's describing is, I guess it could be one of two things. The first possible option is it is some sort of parasitic drain. So possibly when you go into the lock mode, I'm hoping this is what it is, because then there's a workaround, but I'm hoping that when you put this into lock mode, yes, it locks, but in order for that to be ready for taking in an input to cancel that, I presume that it is just running the battery down. Now, bear in mind that they used to use small batteries, but I don't think that can be used as an excuse. Yes, they use the small, I think they're the 180 batteries. Now, I'll show you one of those because you can't actually get into this. It's sealed. That's as open as you can get it. And then you've got this section where you use your USB charger, but that's as open as you can get it, unfortunately. So if I put that to one side, I'll show you a 10180. They're tiny little batteries, but I don't think you can use the excuse that after a week of literal standby, the battery is flat. I mean, look, I haven't charged this for maybe a month. Works fine. It's the Claris Mini one, which I really like, and it uses exactly the same battery, but you can't actually get to it on this one. So I'll show you the battery. It's just a tiny little thing. I mean, I know I have big hands, but I'm certainly not like Bigfoot. Look, there's the tiny little battery. Now it's a 10, I think it's called a 10180. I'll just focus here so you can actually see what I'm going on about here. There you go. So it's 3.7 volt, 10180 is the designation for that. So yes, I understand that this uses a small battery, but I don't think it should just be running itself down for no reason. So like I say, what I hope is the case, I hope the case is that there's a parasitic drain when you leave it in lockout mode. Now, I'm hoping that by not leaving it in lockout mode, it won't drain it. Now, I've done a little bit of digging, just very preliminary, just as I came through the door there. I'm literally just sitting down with a cup of coffee. And it looks like someone else was having the same issue. Now, I apologize, I forget the guy's name, but he was on one of the BLF forums, and BLF just stands for Budget Light Forum. And it's for people like me who sit all day scrutinizing LEDs. So quite interestingly, one guy, I think it may have been Mad Max, he's either Austrian or German. He seems like a kind of nice guy. And he said, I had any problems with mine. And yet the other guy was saying, well, I have. He says, if I leave it locked, fully charged, he says, after a week, it's flat again. Now, I forget the guy's name, but he was describing exactly what's being described by Thanzil Patel. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, here's mine. This is my model, and it's obviously flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge that. But luckily, because I'm a geek, I have two of these things. Now, this is brand new in the box. So there's the original one, which I've tested thoroughly. And here's another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge them both. So obviously, I'm not going to do this in real time. I'm not going to make anyone bored to tears by sitting watching me anyway for that length of time. But I will charge both. I'll leave one locked, one unlocked. I'll leave them in a room untouched. I don't want them moved or touched or anything like that and undisturbed. And then what I'll do is I'll have a look and I'll see if they both exhibit the same behavior. Now, if they do, what I'll do is I'll do a follow-up video, but I will certainly contact Rofis because I want to hear what they have to say. I'm not here to slag off manufacturers and say, right, that means it's crap. Okay, it's less than optimal, obviously, but there may be a workaround. And for all I know, they may say, well, all you need to do is you just change a setting, or that, because you've got to remember on things like this, sometimes they have hidden menus and things like that, where disabling something might actually help. So I'll certainly contact them if I find that behaviour exhibited. So while I'm here, I just want to show you a few other items that I've got to look at. So I'll pop that back, and I'll leave the Rofis out because I will be looking into that. Now, a couple of the things that I had to look at. Now, when I get time, I certainly will go over them. One of them is the new Nightcore charger. Now, what differentiates this between, this is the UMS4. I haven't really had a proper look at it. I think I've used it once just to check that it worked out the box. I ran loads of batteries through it. Did them all, no problem whatsoever. Really liked it. It's not that different from the other one that I've got, which I shall show you if I've got one. There it is. So that was one of the, I mean, I have got multiple chargers, but one of the ones I was using is the SC4, highly rated Nightcore. Now, the only problem I had with this was it does every cell and all the different battery chemistries. However, there's an unfortunate problem. One of them being is the length of this. So this can only accept certain cells. So for example, let's see what cells I've got knocking about. Now, luckily I have, well, I did have, but I'm now made to look an idiot because I can't find it. Right, there it is. So here's some cells. So if I take these out, obviously in you know, a standard cell like an 18650 is going to go in no problem on an SC4. It's its bread and butter. So you can see there's still a little bit of give there and space. However, when you come to put in something like a 2170 cell, which I have in the, I should have one anyway, in the UTorch C8F. So I'll take it out of here just so I can show you. So it's quite a large cell with a big sort of amperage rating. So there's, you can see that that's much bigger. I'll show you the comparison. That they're certainly a little bit longer and wider. So you can see there's a width difference there. And then if we line the bottoms up, there's a slight height difference. So with that in mind, if I try and get this in an SC4, so this is the SC4, so if I try and get that in, what happens is you have to jam it in, and basically the only thing to do is you have to force it in. Now the problem with forcing it in is you pull the wrap off, so you can see there the wrap starts lifting, and that's not really an ideal thing to be doing. So I'll put that back. So what I was looking forward to with the UMS4 is it is rated for, or should be anyway, it's rated all these, but the actual cells that it will do, there you go, 21700, there it is, 21700 certainly is covered, and I have checked, and there's still a little bit of leeway, so no problems whatsoever. The only little thing I was a little bit annoyed about was it's quick charge to available. Now you notice it says available, because what happens is if it uses a USB cable, which I think is the wrong way to go, because what happens is, what's your first instinct? Oh, USB cable, fantastic, I'll stick it into the computer. Right, if you don't put that in a fast enough USB port, this quick charge thing doesn't pop up, meaning you're not getting the amperage you need. Because I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but you've got USB 1, which give you something daft like half an amp, and then you've got USB 2 came out, which gives you I'm trying to remember what it is. It's something like, if you just bear with me a second, I'm just going to close the door. There's some idiots making a noise there. USB 2 gives you it's something like was it 1.5 or I forget the figures off the top of my head on a computer. And then you've got USB 3, then USB 3.1, then USB 3.1 extra and all this rubbish. So unless you are putting that into a, I would say, a high amp USB slot, you're not going to get this quick charge, which I think is a little bit of a letdown, and they could have got around that by just using the damn plug, which would have been the simple answer. So in order to get this, so 3 amps, you're thinking, fantastic, 3000 milliamps, yeah, you only get that when that's active. In other words, when you're putting it through the right cable onto the right slot. So I think it's a little bit of a mishap with them picking that, but that's a choice, you know. USB is certainly handy, but I just wish they'd done it a slightly different way. And another thing, while I'm here, I just want to show you a few items that I've had. I will get round to reviewing these sometime, so let me just tidy up. Let's put things away, and then I'll go through what these are, because a couple of them, I'd never heard of the manufacturers, but they seem to be quite interesting spec-wise. So let's have a look. So the first one here, Army Tech. Now, I'd heard of Army Tech, but I'd certainly never seen one in the flesh. Straight off the bat, 10-year warranty. That's pretty impressive. I mean, you look at most of the Chinese manufacturers, you're not going to get that level of warranty. Even Olight, you get a 3 to a 5 year, depending on your country where you're buying the item. But 10 years, that's pretty impressive. And look at these specs. I know this is a small form factor. It uses the CR123 or the 1640s, I think. So it is small, so you're not getting a massive output, but that's still pretty decent. You're getting 740, and this one should come in a nice tint. But let's look at these here. So it'll take an 18350 lithium ion, 10 meter drop rating. Now bear in mind, most of the stuff I review, you're getting a 1 meter drop rating, and the nice ones you get a 1.5 meter drop rating. What that means is if you were to drop that. Now I've just had a message there from Murray. My Rofis Tc1 also dies after approximately a week locked or unlocked. So that's interesting. So what? Thanks for that, Murray. What I intend to do is I still will run that test, because if there is an issue, I want to get an answer from Rofis. It's no good me just saying, okay, that means everyone's a crap and let's throw them in the bin, because I don't think that's acceptable. Especially, I really like the TC1. It was something that I quite highly rated. I like the fact that they were taking the time to put on something different, like a capacitive touch there, but I don't think that's acceptable. And like I say, compared to the Claris Mini one, the battery on that doesn't run out, and they'll use exactly the same battery. You just can't get it in that one. So I think that's unfair for Rofis. If it put it this way, on some of the digging I did, there was like almost a progenitor to this, which was a fatter thing with a ring. I forget the name. It began with a V, and it was almost like the prototype for this. So if this is a second stage of this design, they should have all these things ironed out, and quality control should get a hold of these things. But I'm not going to have a go at them until I do the test, and then I will certainly contact them to see what they say. So thanks for that, Murray. I appreciate that comment, because it's interesting to see what other people are saying. So, but just quickly back to this, like I say, 10 meter drop rating is pretty impressive, and then you've got a 10 meter 5 hours. Now what's that? I bang on and on and on. I know people get a bit sick, but I bang on and on and on about the fact that I really, really like IPX ratings. So IPX8, waterproof to a degree anyway. You can put it under 2 meters of water for an hour and it should remain watertight. Now that's pretty impressive. So look at that. That's 10 meters for 5 hours. They're going to guarantee that works. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I'm not going to do a full review here, but I'll certainly... What's all that? I'll certainly pull it out and just have a quick look. Let's see what I've got here. And quite interesting. It's made in Canada, so that's nice to see, because I get a bit sick of all these ones from China. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but so there's the Army Tech there. So quite an interesting design. Very interesting. I like a recessed button, but the weird thing is the sides aren't recessed. So isn't that the whole point of a recessed button? I mean, you could argue that there's two uses for a recessed button. The first obvious one is when you take it out of your pocket, without having to look, you can feel with your thumb straight away, right, I know where I am. There's this feedback in the shape there. And the second use of a recessed button is to stop it accidentally being pressed on. But yeah, oh, that's pretty bright actually. Damn, that's quite a nice tint as well. Nice, very, very nice. But I don't want to go too far into that. And that looks like a TIR. Yeah, pretty wide as well. Very nice. So very interesting. Massive impact rating, massive waterproof rating. So pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to looking into this. Let's see, warm light. I don't know what a premium Cree is. I don't know whether when you order them from the factory, you say, now Cree, I don't want any of those rubbish ones. Mind, you better just send me the premium ones. So I don't know how that works, but I'll look into that. And this one will be it's the Prime C1. Brightest for city. So if you're going to a disco, this is the thing to get. But I will do a proper review when I get time. The other quick one that I wanted to have a look at is the DQG, which I've never heard of. Now I was quite interested in this because of the form factor. Now one of my favorites for an 18650 is the S2 baton. Now this is the V1. The V2s are out now, and I will get one eventually, but I think the prices are just stupid at the moment. But what I quite like about this is it's very compact. It's very compact for its size. Another one that's very compact is the Follow-Off. Now these both use an 18650, but look, they're very, very, very compact. I mean, you compare that. I'm picking the worst possible example here, but look, compare that to something like the Warrior using the same battery And yes, I understand it's going to be a bit longer because you've got a tail clicker and a deeper bowl here, but just look at the pocket space you're saving. So that was one of the reasons I took this to Croatia, this one actually, and I loved it. It didn't take up too much room in the pocket. So with that in mind, this is supposed to be minuscule in its height anyway. So for this one, it's the tiny 18650. Now there's other types of tiny as well. And it is the NW, which stands for neutral white. Your other options are cool white and things like that. And then I went for the black and aluminium. So if we can get in here, like I say, I'm not going to do a full review because I've just got in from work and I haven't even been to the toilet yet, so I'm about to explode. But if I can just quickly get in here, let's have a look. Nice. It's looking pretty good. Looks pretty. Now that's pretty wide for a TIR. Look. Let's see what we've got here. Take that out. Wow. Now it's a bit sort of unfinished, almost like a prototype. You've got this bare bit of aluminium here, which is almost textured. I don't know if you'll not pick that up on a stream anyway. Not at the quality settings I've got, but looking pretty good. So let's see if that, yeah, pretty good. And there's turbo, pretty nice. Now, if you notice, that turbo wasn't as big as the, I mustn't have that in turbo. There, that's turbo. My fault. Nice warm light there on the Army Tech though. But that's more of a. You can see, even though that's technically a neutral white, and that so is that. That's a warmer tint. So very interesting there. But this looks like quite a nice detailed light, and it's supposed to have, if I can turn it off, there. It's got a glow-in-the-dark bowl. You see that green there? So there's like a gasket which glows. Fine. It's a nice effect, but I generally find those a little bit gimmicky. The whole idea, sometimes, well, some people will say, and I'll certainly suggest it myself, if you're camping and you've been using it, or you're in the dark and you put it down, and then you think, oh, hang on, I just need it again. I'm in the dark. How do I fit it? Well, as long as that's facing you anyway, theoretically, you should be able to put your hands on it again. But they're never that bright. And the problem with glow-in-the-dark technology like this is it doesn't last. You know, within 20 seconds, it's to such a low level, it's next to useless. But it's an interesting feature. So let's just look at the height. So I mean, look at that, it's pretty impressive. So bear in mind, I like this because it's fit and finish and it's small form factor. But look, same battery. Wow, what a saving in height. Look, it's almost taken that entire bit off. Bear in mind, they both use the trick of using the TIR to save height. So that is pretty impressive. So well done, DQJ. I'd never heard of you, but good job. Well done. So I'll put that away. And like I say, I'll have a look at the Rofis. I appreciate the comments. If anyone else has got any comments on the Rofis, I'd appreciate, just stick it in the comments or go to my original review of the Rofis, because there's comments on there already from people saying that theirs is useless and it's running out of charge. And I'm going to do a little bit more digging. And I'm also going to send an email to Rofis because I think it's fair to get both sides of the story. It's no good me just sitting slagging them off. So I'll do that. Thank you very much for joining me. Unless anyone has any questions, I'm certainly going to run off to the toilet because I think I deserve it after being at work all day. But thank you for joining me, and I'll get back to you on the issue of the Rofis.